So with Trae Young getting traded, as long as guys like John Morant being in trade rumors, Darius Garland being rumored to potentially be on the block after what's been a sluggish season for him as well. The narrative that's going around now is that small guards are fading out of the NBA. They just can't compete. You can't build a contender around them, and quite frankly, I guess now they're viewed as salary dump players or players that have no real value in the NBA as opposed to what they were once projected to be. Primarily so John Morant and Trae Young. While I do believe that there's some merit to that and that it could be something to consider as teams are looking to build more dynamic teams with more versatility and being able to do more things on the court, I do think that there's also two things that are neglected when this conversation comes about. The first thing I want to talk about, the second apron that Adam Silver emplaced, which has been started like last season or was in play last season and has trickled down into the long-term consequences and decision making that the teams are now making. The second apron basically taxes organizations for passing a certain threshold that has been implemented to where if you are in the tax or you are above the salary cap, you essentially have to pay fines for doing so. And a lot of these owners, they want to preserve as much money as possible. They want to generate revenue. So, with that being in play, teams are now looking to explore everybody. And the reason why I think that this is a more pivotal thing to highlight when we're talking about small guards being completely obliterated from the NBA is because it's not just small guards that are happening to. Zion, somebody who can't be on the court. LaMelo, someone who can't be on the court. These guys are now expendable as well. Lauri Markkanen has been in trade rumors for about 2 seasons now. Vucevic for like 3. There's just a lot of teams that are a lot of players that teams are not willing to not only keep their contracts for long periods of time, but also they don't want to re-up on those contracts because they essentially want to build the best capable team that will be as available for their organization as much as possible. Availability, though I don't always sign off on it being the best ability, at the end of the day, you have to play basketball games in order for your team to have impact, especially if you're going to be 1 or 2 on the salary cap list for those teams. I think that has a bigger play more so than anything, due to the fact that even if I wanted to, say after the Hawks, and say I wanted to wait it season out, while Trae Young opts into his contract, say I just wanted to wait it out, and I wanted to see where him and Jalen Johnson could really go if they mesh on the court together. Time's ticking. Jalen Johnson's contract is going to come up as soon basically as you re-up Trae Young. With the way it was looking when they were sharing the court for the minimum games they were able to this year, it wasn't worth the sacrifice. It wasn't worth waiting for, because I'm going to be hit with a fine or a fee that I gotta pay for paying my players, while also then being a 10th seed, a play-in contending team, not even a playoff contender. I'm not guaranteed a playoff spot. I am essentially signing up to invest in a team who was going to be at best a 9th seed. Teams aren't going for that. Not in this age with the second apron rule. I think that has a bigger play more than anything, because with the John Morant situation in particular, the Grizzlies could decide to just hang on to the situation, let this go into the offseason, and though his contract isn't coming up, guess whose contract is re-ing up? Jaren Jackson Jr.'s. I'm going to have to pay Jaren Jackson near $50 million, which is crazy given the offensive floor he has. It's not like Jaren Jackson's gonna ever really, at this point in his career, give me 25 a night. Even if he does, like, is it gonna be really efficient enough for me to substantially improve my team with the pieces that are already there? You gotta kind of pick your poison and still look for that franchise player. I can't afford to promise John Morant any kind of re-up or any kind of contract. I can't tell John Morant that we're going to build this future around him when he's 26 going on 27 and he can't play games, and above all else, he's regressed as a basketball player. Which is the second point I want to talk about. A lot of these guys that y'all mentioning that are small guards who are getting dissipated from the league, they are regressing. There are pivotal things that are playing into this, but for one, obviously we know the defensive efficiencies that are there, but defense isn't all that's making this transpire. I want you guys to keep in mind, we put Jalen Johnson in this pedestal for the leap he's taking. The defense is plateaued. He's not locking up on a 99 basis no more. He's not playing all NBA defense while scoring 25, 10, and 8. Yeah, that's not how it's going. Denny Avdia taking a big leap. I was high on him as a draft prospect. I kind of was hurt that it wasn't panning out in Washington. I thought that it was just another pipe dream that I had for a prospect, and it didn't pan out. It's working in Portland. But tell me, is Denny Avdia really like some matchup nightmare on both ends of the court? No, he's not. It's food for him too. Keontae George. No one's complaining about Keontae George's defense. This is not what's happening. These guys that I'm naming off, however, are still efficient basketball players. They're still able to contribute to winning basketball by being efficient. Trae Young is no longer an efficient basketball player. That's the big problem with trying to say I'm going to throw $50 million to you long term. John Morant is no longer an efficient basketball player. That's why me trying to figure out your contract and Jaren Jackson's contract and Desmond Bane's contract, who, by the way, they already traded, it's not going to work out if I can't get all three of you guys to play efficient basketball. The ball doesn't have the same synergy when you guys are on the court. We're not winning as many games no more. And above all else, y'all can't stop a nosebleed together. The defense plateaued tremendously when Dillon Brooks left in Memphis. So what am I to do as an organization other than to look at my other options? I can get rookie contracts, which have always been vital and necessary for building contending teams. When you look at a Tayshaun Prince, when you look at a Tony Parker, Ginobili, when you look at guys like Trevor Ariza, these young guys, even back then, who contributed to winning basketball under their rookie deals. Klay Thompson's a big one, Draymond Green. These guys were able to make winning plays while also not costing these organizations millions upon millions. And now the money is spread everywhere because the cap increases. So of course these teams are thinking long term, not only just for the sake of preserving money, but then also to avoid a tax that comes with spending money on a championship team or a dynasty. Which, I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't like Adam Silver for it. I really think the second apron is pointless. If I'm already contending, let me contend. I believe in dynasties. Dynasties made basketball what it is for so long, and now it's going to be harder than ever to make one because what they do, you get punished for trying to build a dynasty in this era, which is Pee Wee sports. I mean, no one's doing it to San Francisco. No one's doing it to the Rams. No one's doing it to the Eagles. No one's doing it to the Dodgers, the Yankees. These aren't happening in other major league sports in America, but for some reason it has to happen in the NBA. Which, I mean, whatever, we get it. It's cool. It is what it is now. But with that comes sacrifice, with the consequence that comes with the second apron. I think those things are really pivotal, especially when you look at somebody like, say, like Michael Porter Jr., who is balling out of his mind in Brooklyn right now. But he is going to make almost 40 M's. Gee, they're losing a lot of games. They don't want to hold that contract, and I want Michael Porter Jr. in Brooklyn as much as anybody. Like, please keep the vibes, Brooklyn. We will figure it out. But then they also can't pay Cam Thomas. They're looking at their situation and they're like, maybe a team that can use him for his value in the market would be better off, because we're just simply not winning enough games to make this make sense. Maybe if we're Boston, we can take a sacrifice. But even Boston, they had to ship off Drew Holiday. They had to come off of Porzingis. And it's partly because they're trying to figure out how to preserve their profit and their revenue while also winning games. So it's a whole different ball game now when we're talking about what these teams have to sacrifice. And owners have already have been stingy owners. Like, teams were quick to come up off contracts that weren't fulfilling their vision for their teams. If it was transpiring back then, imagine what is going to continue to happen throughout the league. Like, this is deeper than a small guard thing. Yes, small guards are not versatile enough defensively to hang with the modern day pace and space game, but there also can be situations such as a Jalen Brunson, such as Donovan Mitchell, where they can manipulate a game. Davion Mitchell can still lock up. Stephon Castle, same height as John Morant. He can impact the game in multiple ways though. So he's probably going to get his bread, and John Morant's going to be figuring it out. Stephon Castle has just so far. Anything can happen, and above all else, John Morant was at that pinnacle to where you can say he was one of those players at a point in time in his career, before the injuries, before the off-court stuff, and above all else, before just having a bad season. Like, he is shooting like 20% from 3. We've always known John not to be the sniper shooter, but these percentages he's putting up in these games these days is just like, dog, we can't do nothing with that. Like, I wouldn't want to do nothing with that if I had all the money in the world and I had to figure out what I'm going to do with my team going forward, not just for this season, but for the next seasons afterwards. And you're more expendable than the Defensive Player of the Year, even though I think both of them could be expendable, just to tell you the truth. No, Rich Paul. No, not for Austin Reeves, gang. No. No. But nonetheless, if I'm the Grizzlies, both of them will be expendable at this point, because there's just a balance that I have to consider going forward. And now the draft has more value than ever. Now selecting a good basketball player and nurturing a good basketball player and making sure that these young prospects grow and blossom matter now more than ever, because a lot of these people that are already in this era who have experienced life before this death tax that came about, they gotta now figure it out. And honestly, like, if I'm an organization, you gonna go young by default. Like, we're going young by default. We're not going to keep paying guys who are not progressing max money forever. We can't afford to do that. We can't afford to figure out how to get you everything you need when Cade Cunningham, for example, is just hooping with dogs. You could even argue that analyzing the game of basketball like 2 or 3 years ago, like in 2023, 2022, a lot of these guys weren't winning players. You can win with like a Isaiah Stewart, for example. Like, what is Isaiah Stewart going to do? Like, a Sora Thompson. 3 years ago, everybody would have been like, get this guy out the league. Like, he's no good. But you're playing with these caliber of guys, and you're playing winning basketball, and the defense is in sync, and you're contributing to it. You're 6'6", 6'7". You can manipulate the defense with your off the dribble movements and with your ability to make for others. Like, there's just so much that is going into making max money now. We're not gonna see so many players in general, in my opinion, just being max players. Like, What's the difference between Jaylen Brown and Zion Williamson? They're like the same height. Like Zion's one not available, which is major key, because if you're not gonna play games, I'm not even gonna try. Like, you're not playing games. You gotta go. You're not playing games. Somebody else might have to take their risk. You are not playing games. Not only are you not playing games, when you're on the court, there are certain deficiencies and there's certain things that I gotta wiggle around to get you right. But then I've already tried putting you with Brandon Ingram. I've given you DeJounte Murray. I've given you CJ McCollum. I've given you this, that, and the third, and it's not working. Like, we can't make it work. We're going to pay Trey Murphy this money, and they're trying to ship Trey Murphy. This problem is deeper than the small guards thing. I hope everybody realizes it. There's a lot of money that is trying to be expended in play, and they're trying to essentially play with these players' values. Because whereas 3-4 years ago, you could have made all that money in the world, you could have gotten max dollars, and all you had to do was contribute a couple good seasons. Now, you have to logically think about what this means long term when you throw in a 4-year deal, when you're throwing these 5-year deals, when you're giving super maxes. You have to think about the long term ramifications of it. And if you're already not winning basketball games, how are you gonna sustain that bread? They're not gonna want you to keep sustaining that bread, though. They don't want like a 20-point score getting all this money, and he's not even playing in conference finals. It's just what the league has succumbed to. And again, I am opposed of it, but I think it's a deeper problem than we can't play a 6'1" player. Jalen Brunson's playing, he's just fine. Donovan Mitchell's playing, he's just fine. There's guys playing, they're not that tall, they're fine. Corey could still get 10 assists in a game. He's fine. Like, I think there's just a bigger picture that everyone's like just completely neglecting when we're talking about not just the extension of small guards, but the extension of essentially archetypes. Like, at least to a point where a certain archetype can't get that max money. You have to be an all-round player now to get this max contract. You have to impact the game offensively and defensively, or you have to impact the game in where you can get my players the best available shot while also getting your own shot at an elite rate, while also making sure you can get to the free throw line at an elite rate, while you can push the pace at an elite rate. Because this is what the era has come to. It's no longer just like you can make 40 M's off of 23 and like 7 a night. You can't make the money that all these people are making. It's deeper, y'all. It's really deeper than just a small guard thing. And yes, there may be some merit to it. A part of it is the game is just so dynamic. Now, maybe it is the fact that I got like a 6'7" point guard, I got a 6'6" wing, but you also have like 6'4" wings. Bruce Brown is still impacting games. That is, Dylan Brooks is not like some super massively tall dude. He's not like 6'9" out there, but he still impacts games. Colin Gillespie, he's probably like 6'2", 6'3", and he like maybe 210 when he's all drenched and sweaty. But he's still getting the job done. It's deeper than just this height fixation that us basketball heads have. It's deeper than that. Or else why is Trey Murphy for the 3rd season now on the trade block? Why is Michael Porter Jr. getting 26 a night and on the trade block? Just 3 years ago, if Michael Porter Jr. was getting 26 a night on the Brooklyn Nets, he's making Mikal Bridges money. It was like Mikal Bridges was some all-defensive player when he was in Brooklyn. And shout out Mikal. Mikal can clamp. He might have Michael Porter Jr. on that. But Michael Porter Jr., I could argue, is a better rebounder, for example, than Mikal Bridges. So there is value that Michael Porter Jr. offers outside of his scoring. He's one of the better rebounders in the league. And he's still expendable. There's a deeper problem here, or a deeper conundrum. I don't even know how to say it. Is it problematic? I don't even know. Because this is what everybody's asked for. Everybody's asked for guys to play worth their value. Everybody looks at the contract, and everybody, myself included sometimes, I'm guilty of it too, but everybody looks at the contract and says, hey, now you make this much amount of money, give me this much amount of production, or you shouldn't be getting paid. Like, we were coming from an era where Patrick Williams, all he had to do was score 10 points, and he got the rookie max extension. Max Christie just had to shoot the ball better every year. Extension. THT, just one good spurt in March. Extension. We're coming from that era to now where teams have to divide the money and multiply their success at the same time. It's difficult. Y'all let me know if I'm reaching them. I think I'm really onto something with this stuff, because at the end of the day, yes, being 6'1" puts you at a disadvantage, but you know what else puts you at a disadvantage? Shooting 30% from the 3, shooting 20% from the 3, when you're supposed to be at this level that we paid you at. When we paid you, Darius Garland was a 40% 3-point shooter. Trae Young was able to manipulate defenses at all 3 levels. John Morant was super explosive, crazy, shoe deal, media talk every week, 50-win seasons. This is what they were getting paid to sustain, and they're not sustaining that no more. And it wouldn't be a problem, or as big as a problem, if there wasn't this second apron tax. I think that above all else, with the availability, is the biggest problem right now for the guards that people keep wanting to pick apart and mention and this, that, and the third. If I'm playing Colin Sexton all these minutes and we're still losing, if I'm the Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo could be expendable. If I'm playing Trey Man, shout out to him, he had a cool season last season, but if Trey Man was out there and we lose games, or we got LaMelo out there when he can be and we lose games, with this apron, bro, the value of these players is just, and I think people are gonna see what I mean by this in a couple of years, when certain players who they thought they was gonna get money is not gonna get the money. Like, they're just not gonna get the money. Like, they're gonna have to either take lesser deals, or the league's just gonna move on. But y'all let me know for real in the comments if y'all tapped in. It's been your boy, Addy K Hoop.